Hey, 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 it's your girl Andrea Joyce, and I'm here with you with another episode of Talk the Talk with Andrea Joyce. I'm so happy that you're tuning in today. I promise I'm not going to kidnap you, I'm not going to hold you long. I know I can talk a lot, but I just want us to talk about different things that affect our going and coming, our being better, our doing better, anything that can help us elevate and walk into purpose, walk into better days. We're tired of all the stress, right? If you're like me, you're tired of all the stress, all the things that happen in family life and friendships. And we want better. We want to be better. We want to receive better. And so we're going to do better. Today, I want to talk about a topic really quickly, and it's about having your setbacks be set ups for comebacks. So, in other words, when something negative happens in your life, we want to flip it and turn it so that it can actually be a setup for something good to happen. I remember in the Bible, it talks about how something was done for bad, but God turned it into something good. So we know that when we have a setback, it's very frustrating. It's irritating. It's annoying. It makes you just want to stop. And I'm going to use me as an example. You know, I'm very transparent. I tell you what it is. I am a writer. Before I became an author, I was a screenwriter. I wrote scripts for movies, I wrote scripts for plays, I wrote scripts for TV series. I was writing for a very popular show back in the day. And I did a lot of writing, a lot of writing, a lot of writing. Um, I'll never forget the first writings I ever did was in a composition notebook. I don't have a composition notebook, but it's something like this, black and white. But you remember how we were in like elementary school and we used to have that black and white notebook? I used to have about 12 of them. And in those 12 notebooks, I wrote different scripts. I wasn't typing yet. I mean, I knew how to type and I had a computer, but for me, it was just easier to write in penmanship. It's something about writing, not typing, that releases something. I can't explain it. Typing is good and it's beneficial because eventually anything you're going to have to type unless you get one of those apps that can take a picture of what you write and it'll type it up for you. There is that option now. But I used to write in notebooks. And during this specific time, I was writing scripts for stage plays. I hadn't crossed over into writing my TV series or writing the first feature film or the shorts. I hadn't done that yet. I was just really focused on plays. And so I wrote all these different stage plays. And I used to say every notebook is worth $1 million because in that notebook was a full stage play, full direction, um, full setup. And I'll never forget at this time, I lost my job. We were living in an apartment in Atlanta and actually one of the suburbs of Atlanta because my daughter's like, that's not Atlanta. Even though for me, the metro area is always Atlanta, but that's okay. It wasn't the city of Atlanta, it was one of the suburbs of Atlanta. I lost my job and I was unable to keep the apartment. They evicted us. And this is when I really learned all about the eviction and how Atlanta works with eviction. And they put your stuff out. And when they put your stuff out, if people see it, they have the gall to come get your stuff for themselves. Like they worked for the stuff you purchased. You know, I really was angry with the way Atlanta did that. I wasn't used to that because in New Jersey, the system is they don't put your stuff on the street, they lock it so you can't get to it. And in order for you to get your stuff before it goes into storage, you have to pay. They'll unlock it and you get your stuff out. So you keep your stuff. In Atlanta, they're so disrespectful. They're disrespectful here. They just put your stuff out on the street. They don't even care that you went into working for this stuff. Their thing is, hey, you no longer own the apartment. We want to flip it so we can sell it, rent it to somebody else. So your stuff is no consequence. Here's the kicker. I had a washing machine and dryer that I bought from Sears before Sears closed down. It was one of the first things, major things, appliances, well, major things, period, that I had purchased. So I came home and I see all my stuff out, spread out, because where the apartment is, that's where they put your stuff. And I'm looking, I'm like, hey, I'm recognizing stuff, right? I'm looking, and the maintenance guys are on that maintenance truck, that they ride around the property in. Looks like a golf cart. In the back of that golf cart were my washing machine and dryer. And when they saw me coming, they zipped off because I was chasing after them, like, give me my ish. And they laughing and driving off. I'm not going to tell you the thoughts that I had then and the thoughts that just popped up in my head about them right now. So we're going to ask God to forgive me for those thoughts. But then at this point, I had name brand purses, name brand shoes, name brand clothes, jewelry. All that stuff was gone. All that stuff. And I mean, all that stuff was gone. My daughter's stuff, gone. They left literally junk. You know how in your house you'll have stuff you forgot about that you even had it. It's like in a closet somewhere, decorations and stuff. They left stuff like that. They did leave my couch, probably because I came in the right time. So I was able to get my couch, my love seat, my ottoman. I was able to get those things. Bed gone. Just bought this nice mattress, gone. And all of that hurt. It devastated me. I'll be very honest with you. I think that is probably the last time that I had nice things on purpose, because it broke my heart to lose, especially my bags. If you know me, and a lot of you don't, because you met me at different phases of life, where you meet someone may not be the totality of who they are. Let me just say that to you. You might meet somebody who's on the decline, but you don't realize that that's just a stage of life. They may have been top tier, upper echelon. They may have been in a different stratosphere than where you see them at now. So be mindful of judging people for their current season. I want to leave that with somebody, because nobody really knows how I grew up until I tell them how I grew up. I struggled for a lot of years because the economy and the jobs that I did didn't match. What I was bringing home didn't match what I had going out. So it was always like a struggle to keep my head above water. I had a thing, or I used to have a thing. I was in love with purses and shoes. I was of the firm belief you could get an ugly outfit, but if you got the right bag and the right shoes, and your hair always had to be done. My aunt was a proponent for going to get your hair done every week. And growing up, she would send me to the hairdresser, because it used to be hairdressers back then. That's the title, to get my hair done. My cousin was like, yes, hair is important, but it's also important to have your nails done, because when a man sees a woman, the first thing he's looking at are her fingers. Well, not the first thing, but one of the things they look at are the fingers. And not only should your fingernails be done, but your toes should be at least, even if you have clear, they should be not long and looking like Kung Fu Dragon nails. So my aunt was like, hair done. So I had to go get my hair done every week. My cousin was like, nails. And I had natural nails back then. I had my own nails growing up. A lot of people, when they used to see me, used to think I had fake nails or artificial nails or acrylic or whatever, but they were actually my nails. Until I had my daughter, until I became pregnant with my oldest daughter, I had long nails. Like, these are short compared to how long my nails would grow. But when I was pregnant with her, I had an iron deficiency. I'm telling you a whole lot of stuff today, boy. And so my nails started being brittle and broke and breaking. So I would get the acrylic nails then. Okay. So hair, nails, right? But for Andrea, me, the Northern Belle, I was a bag and shoe fiend. I loved a good bag. My first name brand bag was a Coach that my ex-boyfriend bought me. It was the bucket, the long, big one. And I was like 18, 19. I can't remember how old I was. But that was like my first purchase because before then I was a tomboy. So I could care less about a purse, a bag. But once I got that Coach, your girl flipped into girly girl mode. I was already getting my nails done, getting my hair done. Now came the bag. And the first time I went shoe shopping as an almost adult, nobody told me the sexiness of a shoe. I used to wear sneakers. I was a sneakerhead. My youngest daughter and I are very similar in that. I was worried about Jordans, Nikes, Adidas. I didn't care nothing about a shoe. It was all sneakers for me or Tim's. It was all that. It wasn't no cute shoe. I don't remember where I was going, but a friend of mine and I went to the mall and she was like, well, you need to go get some shoes, right? And I was like, well, yeah, I just need a black shoe. And I'm thinking regular old school shoes like we used to have to wear. It wasn't nothing cute, nothing sexy about it. We went into, and I can never remember the name of the shoes, Baker's. I think it was Baker's, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Baker's. And this is back in the day. Remember, I'm like 19, 18, 19, 20. I don't even think I was 20. I think I was 19. We went into Baker's and I was like, what are these? We're not even in the name brand shoe. We just talking about the sexiness of a shoe. It wasn't even stilettos because back then, stilettos were shoes that strippers wore or ladies of the evening wore. But I loved stilettos back then when they used to have the fur and the, okay, it's a lot. This girl right here is a lot. I keep telling y'all that. We went into Baker's, I think it was, and I saw the selection of shoes. They had a heel, but not the stilettos yet. It was just a regular heel. And I was just like, I'm in love. And from that moment forward, I was a shoe head, no longer a sneaker head. So a couple of things happened at that point in my life. I started getting bags, started getting sexy shoes. I stopped wearing sneakers and I stopped wearing jeans. And I was the girl who wore nothing but jeans, jean shorts, and shorts. I don't know what happened during that age and stage, but I turned to, let me say this right, because I'm going to say something and my kids are going to come and wash my mouth out with soap. I used to wear the Daisy Duke shorts. I'll say it that way. There's another word. You know, my dad is from St. Thomas, so we say something different, but my kids are like, yeah, tat, tat, tat. Don't you say those words. So I wore short shorts. I wore skirts. Remember, skirts with a skirt in the front and the shorts in the back. I wore little skirts, mini skirts and things like that. I wore see-through shirts. I wore the shirts with the holes in it. You know what was back. I all of a sudden changed from the tomboy look to the girly girl look. It's like I went from one extreme to the other. So since that time, and that's 19, I was collecting bags and collecting shoes and collecting clothes. And I was blessed to be born in Jersey. And Secaucus, New Jersey had all the outlets that your heart could desire. My favorite store was a real New York bargain. I don't know how many of you have ever shopped in Jersey. I don't know how many of you live in Jersey and can remember a real New York bargain, but that store, I used to spend my money, my dad's money, honey. I went to that store and I listen. Then I started discovering other stores that had outlets, but it was really a real New York bargain for me. I love that store. But I had friends who worked in the outlet, so they would tell me what stores to go to and when the outlet was going to have a sale. So already it's an outlet, but now it's got a sale. Oh, honey. So I'm just collecting. When I moved to Atlanta, what came with me was my clothes, my shoes, my bags, my radio, stereo thing, small TV, and I think that's it. Blankets. That was mailed to the house, to the apartment. I had to build up from there. But as long as I had my clothes, my shoes, and my bags, I was happy. So all this time, I'm just collecting, collecting, collecting. We moved to another apartment. Times changed or whatever. Um, because at first, when I moved to Atlanta, it was just me and my oldest, Isis. But fast forwarding to where this eviction happened, it was myself, Isis, and my two youngest, D'Angelo and Danielle. So I've been collecting this whole time. When this eviction happened, they took everything. No more bags. None of my bags were there. None of my shoes were there. None of my suits that I had purchased, and I had some cute before Olivia Pope became a thing, outfits, because that was my thing back then. I kind of liked the look of the 70s mixed with the look of the late 90s, kind of flipped it and put it together and made my own style. I had a style that it wasn't, because when I first started wearing clothes, I followed the trends. Whatever was popular, I was getting sneakers, all of that. But at this stage in life, I was putting together my own outfits. I didn't care what was popular. I cared about what looked good on me and what I made look good, right? So I had all kinds of stuff. When I tell you everything was gone, I may have had some jeans because I had like two pair of jeans. That's it. Um, no sneakers. Everything was gone. And I was hurt. From that time until now, I never rebuilt my shoe collection or my purse collection, my bag collection. Now I've gotten clothes, different things because I'm back there. But it hurt me so much to lose everything I had and the money that was spent because I was actually going into not just outlets to get my bags and shoes, I was going to the actual stores. So I was spending a grip. So to lose that stuff, I want to say like now, I think I got one or two maybe name brand bags and shoes. I got to rebuild again. Um, but it hurt me and it made me feel like I never wanted to have anything good because at that point in my life, it was like one bad thing happened, another bad thing happened, and another bad thing happened, and another bad thing happened until a whole lot of bad things happened. And I lost everything. Every time I would start to get a little bit of something, something would happen and I would lose everything. So it kind of made me not even like, to be honest, I used to love gold jewelry. Two things happened. And I'm telling you this because these are all setbacks from my life. I used to love gold. I never wore silver. It was always 14 karat gold for me. When I was in a relationship with someone, their parent was on drugs and the parent stole my jewelry because I never slept in my jewelry. I used to have a rope chain. It wasn't hollow. This was the real deal. Like, yeah. And then I had the herringbone chain with this big cross on it that my ex-boyfriend had bought for me. I had a rope bracelet, a herringbone bracelet, because I used to love to match. I had like 3 rings that I used to wear. Earrings, of course, big earrings, because I always used to like big earrings. Now, I spent the night at my current boyfriend's house. Just like at my house, I always take my jewelry off. See, here's the thing that I need to tell somebody. When you are getting to know someone, when you're in a new situation, a new relationship, getting to know people, you need to be as honest with a person as you can be in the beginning. No, you don't have to tell your whole dissertation, but there's some key things that are very important. One of the things that's important is if you are in a relationship with someone and they don't know that you or your family members or friends have a drug problem, you need to let them know. If you're struggling with drugs, if you're on drugs, and I know people don't want people to know that because they don't want to be looked at a certain way. They don't want the stigma. You may not want to lose the person. But here's why it's important, because you have to give a person the opportunity to choose you with your flaws. You don't want to pretend and have your representative out and then someone finds out who you really are and walk away when your feelings have developed even more. And also, if it's not you, but it's around you, you want them to be able to prepare or to move differently. You want to protect them. The protection didn't come. I was not made aware that the parent had a bad drug addiction. I'm thinking their household is like my household. At my household, I can leave jewelry anywhere in the house, and my jewelry will be wherever I laid it. Now, I just so happen to keep all my stuff. I had a jewelry box in my room, but I don't sleep. Or back then, I didn't sleep in my jewelry, so I took it off with the expectation that when I woke up, my jewelry would be there. I woke up. Now, you know, when you put something in a specific place, you know where you put it, you know where you left it. But when you don't see it in that space, you're just like, oh my gosh, maybe I put it here, maybe I put it there. So I'm feverishly looking for my jewelry, all of it. Every piece is missing. And I'm like, and the pieces meant a lot. One came from my aunt that passed away. She was still alive at the time. One came from an ex who meant a lot to me. And the symbolism, because it was a cross, and I always wore crosses. It was important to me. The bracelet, one of them I bought for myself and I paid a grip for it. One was a gift. The rings were gifts from my aunt. The earrings I paid a grip for. And it's sentimental. Forget the money value. It was sentimental because of who gave me what. And it was mine. I'm the kind of person, I don't care the backstory, the history. If it's mine, it's mine. And I want what's mine. It's my right. Okay? So I look behind the TV. I look on the floor. I look in the trash can. I'm looking all over. And he's just sitting there watching me do all of this. He knew. He knew the entire time because he knew what I had done. Never warned me. Never said you may want to put it in your car, put it in your purse, keep it on. Never said anything. So after about 30 minutes of looking and him just sitting there, I said, where is my stuff? And let me let you know, I did not say stuff because I was fired up. Told you once upon a time I was the Incredible Hulk, so that temper was something. He said, and when he said, mentally, I was taking the earrings out of my ears because my earrings had been stolen. So I ain't had no earrings to take out my ears, but I just was preparing for a fight because I already knew it wasn't going to be good news. Here's the thing. And he let me know calmly and probably with fear and trepidation that his parent was on drugs and probably had taken my stuff. And I blacked out. I lost all sense and sensibility. And the parent happened to pop in, and I tried to pop that parent's head off and his too. No remorse, because they're on drugs. There's no remorse. They're trying to get to that next high. Had he said that to me, I would have kept my, no, most likely, to be very honest with you, I wouldn't have stayed the night because I wouldn't have put myself in that situation. Or I would have taken my jewelry home and maybe come back, depending. But I would not have taken my jewelry off. Let's be clear. From that time on, I got a piece here of jewelry. I got a piece there. I faced that eviction. My jewelry was gone. We're talking about the current eviction that I'm telling you about. Not the current, I rebuke that in the name of Jesus. I'm talking about the back then eviction. My jewelry was gone. It was at that time I decided no more gold. I would never wear gold again. It was too painful because gold is expensive. Gold is, and I didn't want to have that loss. So I switched it and began wearing silver. So all you ever see me in now is silver or white gold or platinum. I do have a platinum ring. The stone loosened, so I had to take it to the jewelry store and get that replaced because it is my birthstone and it means a lot because it's from my father to my mother, and my mother gave it to me when he passed away, so I would have something of his because the diamond earrings he bought me were taken. That's another story for another time. It's about, oh, anyway, so much loss I've had in my life. And as painful as it was to lose my jewelry, as painful as it was to lose my bags, as painful as it was to lose my shoes, as painful as it was to lose my clothes, what hurt me even more, the most, was my notebooks. Now, these people ain't know. Back then, nobody really was writing and doing stuff in Atlanta unless it was music. We were just coming up. We were the people who were coming up with the Atlanta, TV shows and movies. And we started that at that point in time in the 90s. We were the ones that were doing that. I was a part of that crew. And I'm like, why would you steal my notebooks? And you don't even know what it is. You just taking stuff to take them. You probably thought they were empty. And I know nothing was done with them because I've never seen a stage play the first because they're different. They're not the average stage play. I cried my heart out because I lost millions of dollars. To me, they were all $1 million plays. Setback. Okay, I want you to keep that pinned in your thoughts. Years later, I wrote a TV series that I wanted to film. I wanted to write, direct, and produce. And we were doing that. We began filming, and I had a huge actors who volunteered to work with me. They weren't getting paid for it. They were getting SAG credit because it was an accredited show. We had venues that volunteered their spaces for us to film. I paid for nothing. And I didn't take it lightly. I honored that because I felt like this is the time. It is now. Let's get it done. And we went and we filmed. And I looked at the dailies. I looked at what we had filmed. And I was crushed. Mics were seen, blurry takes, people walking through that had nothing to do with the scene. The scene didn't sound as tight as it did when I had the headphones on. It destroyed me. And I walked away from filming. Setback. I decided 2 years was enough time. Let me get back to filming. Let me have a more personal crew as opposed to what I had 2 years prior. People who I actually know, who I care about. We start filming. I'm thinking everything is good. It's not working. It's almost the same quality that I had 2 years prior. And it's more stress, setback. I decide to leave the TV show alone. And I said, well, I have shorts. Let me go ahead and film the shorts. People lost footage, cameras being seen because it was 2 cameras, 3 cameras on set, cameras being seen, mics, people walking off the set, noises in the background being picked up. I'm getting emotional because this is my life's dream. This is my love. Setback. I stop completely. I'm done. Then God says, you know the monologues you wrote? Why don't you go ahead and put the monologues together, the struggle monologues of young adults, youth and young adults. Why don't you put them together and have a play of monologues? We do it, huge success, big success, wonderful success. So I'm like, yes, if this can work, let's get back to filming. It doesn't work. Setback. I leave filming alone completely. Minding my business 2019, God says, or 2018 at the end, he says, you know those monologues you did of love and the short play that you did about love? Valentine's Day is coming. Why don't you do the monologues on love? Call it conversations. Mind you, at this point, I've lost everybody. People have gone on to star in big, big, big ticket films. We're talking about Hollywood films. You'd be surprised the people I know. They may not remember me. Some do, some may not, because I was that, girl who had big dreams and worked for another production company. But I met a lot of people during this time. But they had gone on to TV shows. They're in Hollywood. They've moved to Cali. They're directors. They're producers. They're doing big things. There's no one I can say that has not succeeded. And that's a blessing in itself to know people that I worked with that volunteered to work with me that are doing big things. I think that's a feather in my cap. I'm just excited that I knew them when. But for me, I'm at a loss. I have lost. Setback. Setback after setback after setback after another setback after setback. And I'm not even telling you all the setbacks I've had. I'm just giving you these. So he said, do the conversation. And I really don't have a lot of hope because this entertainment thing, filming and movies and TV shows and stage plays have all hurt me, disappointed me, let me down. And I'm like, I really don't want to. He's like, it's time, go ahead. So I did an audition and people showed up for it and were excited. And I'm like, and volunteered, didn't get paid for it. And I'm like, well, the least I can do is film it and give them all, because we were still doing CDs at that time, give them CDs so that way they'll have footage for their reels. We put on the play. We produced the play. I believe it was the day after Valentine's Day or the day before. I always get confused. I think it was the day after or the 2 days after or something like that. Full house, standing room only. I cried. It was just so beautiful to see. 4 people crew. I went from having like a 50 plus crew to like a 25 plus crew to 4 people. Me, Isis, my oldest, Danielle, my youngest, and Shanice, my best friend. 4 people. Success. God was showing me that it's not about the numbers, it's about the commitment, it's about the work ethic, it's about caring. Now, the only problem was when we tried to record it, the camera fell. I can't make this stuff up. Broke the camera, the lens broken. boy, setback, but still a success. We just couldn't um, film it, nor could I get the footage to the people who I wanted to get the footage to. Setbacks from the plays and the notebooks being stolen, taken, and not, it meant nothing to who took it, but it meant everything to me. To actually being on set and watching people treat my vision, treat my baby as an afterthought because they didn't care. The people who I trusted to do certain things weren't doing those things. So we had footage that looked a mess. We had stolen footage, footage that someone else recorded and didn't want to release. We had footage that was on a laptop and the laptop was taken from me. Setback after setback after setback after setback. I walked away from filming the whole shebang, refused to write another script, refused to ever be on set, refused to help anybody with filming. Don't mention filming, don't mention stage play, mention nothing. Setback, 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 setback. And I was hurt, bitter. I had resentment. I was resentful. Boy, I just was in a place of hurt. Setbacks. Wanted to write, but didn't want to write scripts. So I wrote a book. Then I wrote another book. There are books I have that you guys don't know about. They haven't even been released yet, but they will be. Just writing because am a storyteller. That's what I do. When I was little, my mother called me a liar. I was always telling stories, fantasies, living somewhere but in my current situation because it wasn't an easy situation to live in. So I created a fantasy world where everything was right as rain, where people did what they said they were going to do, where people loved you without condition. I made up stories because I couldn't handle the factual reality of my life. Setbacks. Writing books, which I love, but it's still not the love. And one day, God said to me, "You're going back." I'm like, "Going back where?" "You have a stage play to produce." I'm like, "Oh." The first play I ever wrote, the first reason I knew that I was a writer, a play I wrote when I was homeless. Setback. A play I wrote for my daughter so that she would not be in a place or places where they were doing any and everything and it was toxic for her. I wrote this when she was a teenager. God said, "Oh, don't think you wrote that and you're not going to do anything with it." And as a matter of fact, the reason nothing of yours worked unless I put my stamp on it was because this was the first assignment I ever gave you. This is the first assignment that you ever completed. This was your first baby. How are you going to abort this baby and think that your other ones are going to flourish? How are you going to miscarry this baby and think that you're going to give life to other things? Until you take care of this baby and bring this baby to life, nothing else you do in this genre, in this area, is going to work. Clear as day, as I'm talking to you right now. Those setbacks, just those that I'm talking about, were all setups so that one day I would be able to take care of the beginning all the way to the end of production. My daughter said this to me during the hard points in time. She said, "You should know how, whether you do it or not, to run every part of your production. So if someone flakes out, if someone doesn't show up, if someone acts a fool," because boy, some people, you can step in and say, "Go ahead and leave. Go ahead and go. I got this." and take over with no sweat, no blinking, just move right into the area that you're needed. You should know every area. And until you do, you will always be at the mercy of someone else because they're always going to hold you hostage. I'm saying this to somebody today. You need to learn your craft. You need to know your craft, not just the entertaining parts, not just the fun parts, but you need to learn the business behind it. You need to know resources. You need to meet people. You need to know areas. You need to know venues. You need to know anything that has to do with your craft. So no one can ever hijack your vision. You will never be at the mercy of anybody else because you're going to do it for yourself, even if you don't need to. But just to have the knowledge that in case something goes awry, I can step right in because it's mine and I want to birth my baby. Let me tell you what I've learned. I've learned to get a monitor. So when we're filming, I'm not using my naked eyes looking to see what it looks like because what it looks like to my eyes are not what it looks like to the camera. We have two different versions of sight. And what people are going to see on the big screen or the small screen is not what you see with your naked eyes. It's what that camera sees. So if you have a camera person, you can't say, hold on, let me look, but you can have a monitor. You can say, wait, let me hear how it sounds because you're on headset and you're listening. Do you hear any background noise? Do you need to retake? And then you learn to be patient and not to rush through a production because it's taking 12 to 13 to 14 to 20 hours to do. Because there are times it's going to take 25 takes to get one 30-second piece that looks right. Because you got to edit and you got to give yourself and your editor, or if you're the editor, enough scenes in order to make one scene look right. Enough takes, to make one scene look right. This is just in the filming part. I don't know what your craft is. If your craft is writing, set yourself up so not only are you the writer, but what happens when you finish your book? Suppose no publishing house wants to produce it. Or if they do, they want you to change your story and you don't want to change it. So then you learn how to publish on your own and become self-published. And once you get enough notice, there are going to be publishing houses beating down your door to publish you. Or you can continue to be self-published. How about you do music? And all these people are competing to get with this record company and that record label, and this record label is evil, and this record label, you got to sell your soul and you got to do this. So then you become an independent artist and you write your ticket. You can have whatever it is you want because you have the #1 diamond garnered music. Don't ask me, I'm not in the music industry, but you're a big hit now. And you can go with that record label, you can go with that record label, or you can create your own. So you don't have to answer to anybody because it's yours. Your setbacks are not to keep you in a holding pattern. Your setbacks are not sent for you to stay in that setback. Your setbacks are to teach you lessons that you should not repeat. Mind you, I repeated my setbacks. When it came to losing the notebooks, I should have automatically gone to computer, but I wrote more in notebooks. The setbacks of eviction, you don't get into a place you can't afford trying to figure it out. Because at some point in time, you're going to have to pay the piper or the landlord or the leasing manager. You're going to have to pay rent. And if you don't have it, you set yourself up to be evicted again. Setbacks, lessons that you need to learn. And some of the lessons weren't even mine. Like I wasn't getting evicted, but I was entrusting myself to stuff to someone because I didn't have enough storage space, and they may have gotten evicted. That's how I lost my diamond earrings and my oh, I can't think of the bracelet. You know what I'm talking about though. Um, Diamonds all around. I had diamond earrings and a diamond tennis bracelet, a matching tennis bracelet, all gone because someone else got evicted and they didn't tell me. Lost my daughter's chest that she got from my dad after he passed, and she treasured it. It was lost because someone was holding it for me and they got evicted and they didn't tell me. Lost things that I put in storage and lost jobs and was not able to afford the storage. So stuff in storage was sold and somebody's enjoying it to this day. A setback is to show you where you might have fumbled the ball, where you may have taken a misstep, where you might have been in a situation that you don't ever want to repeat again. And as you're able, you don't repeat it again. So setbacks hurt. They hurt a lot. They take you sometimes years to resolve. But they're not all bad because they're lessons that you can learn for life. So just like there were mics on screen, now when I have a monitor, I can see, hey, cut, lift that mic up. Hold it at that degree. Put it at that angle. Go this way instead of that way. I can see now. I can see what the camera sees, not my natural eyes. And sometimes in life, your natural habits, your natural eyes, your natural senses get you into trouble. So what you need to do instead of focusing on your natural is to focus on your spiritual sight, your spiritual smell, your spiritual taste, your spiritual hearing, your spiritual touch. You need the spiritual senses, your discernment. Sometimes you in the natural can't see because it's not happening naturally. Ephesians 6:10 tells us we're not fighting against flesh and blood. Natural is flesh and blood. But if it's spiritual attacks and spiritual warfare and spirit, then you got to fight it not with your natural. You got to fight it in the spirit. Prayer, praise, worship, fasting. These are some of your spiritual resources. Asking God to show you and tell you the truth and take the blinders off. It's not always going to be comfortable because you're going to get information you don't even want. Like there are times I'm like, God, can I just pretend? Can you not tell me what was that song? I don't really, wait, no, that's not how it goes. I don't want to know if you're playing me. I know I can't sing, but that's the song. I use that as a mantra. I don't want to know. And God is like, you are going to know because you're spiritually tied in and you have discernment. You prayed for discernment. I'm not going to give you discernment in one area and not give you discernment in all areas. So there's things I don't want to know, and God exposes them. And I'm like, because now I got to deal with it. Whereas I would have rather pretended what I thought was happening wasn't happening. Women, ladies, you know what I'm talking about. When you know your man is stepping out, when you know your man is cheating, when you know your man is lying, when you know you're trying to pretend I don't want to know, I don't know, I didn't see it, I didn't hear it, so I didn't speak it. That's what you want. But then God starts tapping you, and you're like, nope, So instead of him tapping, he'll show you a text message. He'll show you a messenger message. He'll show you pictures. He'll give you access to things you didn't ask to have access to. But here they are, and it's right in your face, and you can't lie about it. Now, of course, the person you're with is going to try to lie and try to deflect and try to jump up and be ape shit. I'm sorry, guys. I I'm not all the way saved yet. I am all the way saved, but I still curse. I'm sorry. Forgive me. But they act batty and ape poop crazy because you've discovered their secret that they tried to play you and they couldn't. And now you're spooky. Now they can't trust you because you're going into their stuff. You're like, I never touched your stuff. The stuff came to me. I didn't go looking on your phone. I didn't go looking on the computer. I didn't go looking here. I was minding my business and the information came to me. And they sitting here saying, what kind of voodoo do you do? And you're like, it's not voodoo. It's God not allowing you to play me like Play-Doh or Lotto, where you have to man up or woman up. Because men too, you know when your ladies are not doing what they supposed to do or too much is going on, you pay attention. There's some men who are very discerning. You cough wrong and they're like, what's that about? That ain't how you usually do. There's some men who pay attention to a woman who used to dress one way. Now all of a sudden she got on her sexy lingerie and it's not for you. She got on the sexy perfume and it's not for you. She got on the sexy outfit and it ain't for you. You know. Setbacks. Don't ask me where that came from, but I had to speak on it. Setbacks are supposed to be informational. Never have a setback and learn nothing from it. You need to know why it happened, how it happened. What could you have done differently? Now, don't stay in the past, but get information from it and take it to your present situation and put it in a file cabinet for something you may need in the future. But don't stay in your past. Don't stay in the setback. Move on from it. And as you begin to do something and it reminds you, oh, I messed up when this, and let me not do this. Because I remember when I did that, this happened. So let me try to tweak it a little bit. Let me try to shift it a little bit. Let me try to change it a little bit. Let me do something differently. So that's why I wanted to talk about setbacks, because they really need to be the setup for your comeback. Because you're going to come back as long as you don't sit in that setback. If you can mature from it, if you can heal from it, if you can let it go, you have the possibility of moving forward and succeeding in an area you may have failed in. That has to do with relationships, friendships, jobs, businesses, education, every part of your life. We have had setbacks. And that's why I told you the story of my jewelry. That had nothing to do with filming, but it was a setback. And what I learned from there is to ask questions, to get to know people. Don't just be around any and everybody. Find out who you're around and don't leave your jewelry. If you love your stuff, put it up. Don't wear it. There was no reason why I had all that on at that time, to be very honest with you, because I didn't go anywhere. I wasn't going out on a date. We were just hanging out. So why did I have all that on? Why didn't I leave it in my jewelry box? Lesson learned though, because I'm getting closer and closer to wanting to wear gold again. I know when my kids hear this, they're going to be ecstatic. But there's some jewelry pieces that only look good in gold. Can I be honest with you? And I'm starting to miss that because gold looks great on me. Heck, silver looks good on me. It looks great, but I miss gold too. And I can't allow that setback to keep holding me back. You can't allow your setback to keep a vice grip on you so you never move forward, so you never move past it, that you stay stuck, you stay stagnant. Don't let that setback keep you there. Move on. As the weeks go on, we're going to continue to talk about setbacks because now I've shown you that you should learn from your setbacks, that it should be a setup for your comeback. But we're going to talk about the setups part of it, and then we're going to talk about the comeback part of it. Because right now, you need to focus on what you've had in life that held you back, that crippled you, that caused you to fumble, that caused you to stumble, that caused you to fall, that caused you to have a setback. I want you to take this week. This is the only time I'm probably going to tell you, well, okay, maybe not, but you need to focus on your past situations that caused you to be stagnant, that to stand still, to not move, to not prosper, to not go forward. And I want you to take away from it, not what happened, but lessons that you learned or you should have learned or that you will learn because you're going to focus on it this week. Yep, I'm giving you an assignment. Welcome back to Talk the Talk with Andrea Joyce. You know, I'm always giving you assignments. So this week, focus on those setbacks and tell me, not me personally, but write it down in your journal, your diary, your notebook, because I want you to keep record of this. The setback was ABCD. What I can learn to do differently so I don't repeat that setback is A, B, C, D, E, F, how many letters you have. At least one lesson you should learn from that setback. And when we meet up again, we are going to talk about setbacks being setups. And we'll stay right there. And then the next week, we'll talk about setbacks being setups for your comeback. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I apologize for that word just flying. I don't know where it came from. It just went and I wasn't able to stop it. I didn't mean to disrespect anybody. Please forgive me. I'm asking for your forgiveness. I will do better next episode. Remember, do what you love what you do, and always, always, always keep God first. Have a great rest of your week. I'm Andrea